They laughed. The most powerful beings in the galaxy, creatures that could move stars and erase planets, laughed at Earth's trembling voice. And that was the last sound humanity would ever forgive. The council chamber of Orthelion Prime glittered with arrogance. 1,000 species filled the tiers, scaled, feathered, crystalline, machine-born, all unified in one thing, their disdain for the small blue world on the edge of the spiral arm. At the center, surrounded by towering holographic banners, stood Ambassador Amina Reyes, humanity's representative. Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of every soul she carried with her. "We come not as conquerors," she said. "We come as survivors. Earth has suffered. Our seas are poisoned, our orbit is scarred. We ask only for assistance, a place in your alliance, protection in exchange for cooperation." The hall erupted, not with empathy, but with laughter. A slithering being from the Keldar Dominion coiled its luminous tail. "You ask for protection?" it hissed mockingly. "You, whose weapons are primitive chemical sticks? You, who cannot even cross your own system without begging for fuel?" Even the mechanical delegates emitted clicking tones of derision. The chair of the Galactic Council, a vast insect known as Kshera, leaned forward, her mandibles glinting in the chamber light. "Humanity, your species has been observed for centuries. You war with yourselves. You destroy your home. You are not ready for the galaxy." Amina clenched her jaw. Behind her, holographic projections of Earth rotated, a scarred, wounded world, but still alive. "We may not be ready," she replied softly, "but we're still here." Her words drew silence for a moment, then more laughter. But far away, beyond the council chamber, something was stirring. Back on Earth, in abandoned orbital shipyards, old engines hummed again. In lunar bunkers, men and women worked under oxygen lamps, welding plates marked Project Daedalus. In the cold shadows of the Kuiper Belt, hidden beacons flickered to life for the first time in a century. Because humanity had asked politely. And the galaxy had mocked. As Amina turned from the council podium, a single encrypted pulse left Earth's deep space network. A message that read, "Plan Echo is active. We stand up now." When the council denied Earth, the galaxy forgot about us. But the thing about humans is, we never stay forgotten for long. For 3 standard cycles after the council's laughter, Earth went silent. The diplomats withdrew. The communication relays to Sol stopped transmitting. No ships entered or left the Terran system. It was as if humanity had simply vanished. The Galactic Council moved on. There were wars to arbitrate, trade disputes to settle, an entire species begging for admission. Earth was dismissed as another failure, a primitive race that couldn't adapt to galactic law. But whispers began to spread. Freighters traveling the outer lanes spoke of faint sensor echoes, ships with Terran signatures, moving at impossible speeds, then vanishing into the dark. Mining colonies reported unknown drones salvaging derelict fleets near black holes. And one Keldar cruiser swore it saw a human battleship, but no one believed them. In a hidden asteroid vault near Neptune's orbit, the real story unfolded. Rows of massive engines gleamed under hard white light. Orbital platforms bristled with coil guns and rail systems never seen by alien eyes. Humanity hadn't disappeared. It had gone underground, into the cold, into the silence. Amina Reyes, now wearing a military uniform marked UNSC, Restoration Command, stepped into the command deck of the Dauntless Station. Her plea at the council had become a legend among those working here. "You gave them words?" Admiral Holt said beside her, his voice gravel and iron. "Now we give them consequence." She nodded slowly. "They believed our weakness was permanent. Let's show them what mercy built when it broke." On a hollow display, the galaxy shimmered, every major power marked in red. At the outer rim, near the Perseus sector, a new symbol appeared, the human mark of unity, a burning circle of blue light. Humanity's fleets weren't large, but they were hidden, efficient, and ruthless. AI-controlled ghost ships guarded jump corridors. Drone swarms mimicked debris fields until they came alive with plasma bursts. The Terran system had become a fortress disguised as ruin. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Council began to notice. Trade routes near human space went dark. Convoys never arrived. And those who went to investigate sent one last transmission. "Something is watching us in the dark." A nervous assembly convened on Orthelion Prime. The same delegates who once laughed now whispered uneasily. "Perhaps we should reopen contact with Earth," one said. "If they are hiding, what could they be building?" said another. Kshera, the council chair, clicked her mandibles. "Even if they build fleets, they are still primitive. What can one species do against the council's armadas?" The chamber fell silent again. None of them realized that humanity had already answered that question centuries ago. Every time we fought extinction and refused to die. In orbit above Neptune, Reyes gave the final order. "Activate the beacons. Let them know we're still here." Across the void, blue flares ignited one by one, solar signatures burning bright enough for every sensor in the galaxy to detect. And at the center of it all, Earth rose from its silence, whispering across the stars. "We asked for peace. You gave us mockery. Now you'll witness resolve." Deep in the Council's archives, a lone analyst stared at a data feed, hundreds of Terran ships blinking into existence across uncharted sectors. He whispered in horror. The first human strike didn't begin with a warning. It began with silence, then stars started dying. In the Persis frontier, 3 Keldar battle groups drifted through the void, engines pulsing with arrogant rhythm. They'd been dispatched to investigate Terran activity, meaning to remind the primitives who ruled this galaxy. They never made it back. The blackness around them folded, shimmered, and erupted in blue fire. Invisible rail slugs, moving at relativistic speeds, ripped through their shields like paper. Within seconds, 3 fleets' worth of dreadnoughts were reduced to drifting skeletons of molten hulls. No signals, no declarations. Only one message was recovered from the wreckage. "We are awake." Across the galaxy, chaos bloomed. The Galactic Council scrambled to comprehend what was happening. Dozens of systems went dark within a week, stations sabotaged, shipyards hijacked, databanks purged. And always, that same haunting transmission, echoing across the comms. "We are awake." Amina Reyes watched from the command deck of Dauntless Station, her reflection framed by the blue light of Sol. Around her, a fleet unlike any humanity had ever fielded prepared for war. Hybrid vessels combining Terran design with scavenged alien tech. Each ship carried a name from Earth's scars: Sarajevo, Chernobyl, Fallujah, Hiroshima. They weren't names of shame. They were reminders. "Admiral Holt," she said quietly. "Have they responded?" "Yes, ma'am. They called our actions an act of war." "They're late," Reyes murmured. "The war began when they laughed." The council convened an emergency assembly. Dozens of species shouted across the chamber, their fear dripping into every syllable. "Humans have declared war on the galaxy." "Impossible. They lack the numbers." "They're ghosts. Our sensors can't track them." Kshera, the insected chair, struck her mandibles in fury. "We will burn Earth to its core if they do not surrender." But deep down, none of them believed they could. Because by now, humanity wasn't fighting for territory. They were fighting for dignity, and no force in the galaxy could quantify that kind of fire. Meanwhile, alien outposts began discovering something terrifying. Wherever human fleets struck, they rebuilt. On shattered worlds, humans restored breathable atmospheres. On burned moons, they planted life. Even the ruins of alien colonies were repurposed, repaired, revived. Humanity's vengeance came wrapped in mercy, a paradox the galaxy could not understand. One alien broadcast summed it up best. "They destroy us, then heal what remains. Are they conquerors or saviors?" In the shadows of the war, Reyes received a direct transmission from Kshera herself. "Ambassador Reyes, this madness must end. You seek to destroy the Council, but we are not your enemy." Reyes stared at the hologram, the same creature who had mocked her plea years ago. "You were never our enemy, Chairwoman," she said softly. "But you taught the galaxy that mercy was weakness." We're just correcting that lesson. The feed went silent. Moments later, the human fleet jumped toward Orthelion Prime, the capital of the Council, the same world where they'd been humiliated. The galaxy held its breath. As the first Terran warships exited FTL above Orthelion Prime, their message echoed across every comm channel in the galaxy. We stood before you once in peace. Now we stand as consequence. The skies above the Council's homeworld burned blue. The galaxy had seen wars before. Cold wars, machine wars, species wars. But it had never seen a war fought for dignity. Until the humans came. The skies of Orthelion Prime glowed with fire. Thousands of alien defense platforms opened up simultaneously, energy beams, plasma bolts, kinetic slugs, all converging on a formation of human ships that moved like ghosts through the inferno. They didn't return fire immediately. Instead, a broadcast went out across the system. A voice every council member recognized. This is Ambassador Amina Reyes of Earth. We came here once, asking for peace. You denied us mercy. You mocked our plea. Today, we give you something far rarer, understanding. The alien gunners hesitated. For a moment, the galaxy itself seemed to pause. Then the dauntless fleet answered with thunder. Human warships split formation, executing maneuvers no alien AI could predict. Erratic, emotional, alive. Railguns roared. EMP bursts shut down entire orbital grids. Human drones tore through cruisers, cutting through shields with weaponry reverse-engineered from dozens of alien civilizations. It wasn't a massacre. It was a message. Within hours, the Council's orbital defenses were crippled. But humanity didn't land troops, didn't burn cities, didn't demand surrender. Instead, they transmitted every Council recording of the laughter that once echoed in this chamber, then went silent. Amina Reyes walked into the Council hall, unarmed, surrounded by the sound of distant thunder. The same chamber where she had once stood alone now trembled under the weight of awe and fear. Shara, wounded and desperate, turned toward her. What do you want, human? Reyes looked around the room, at the faces of those who had mocked Earth, now silent and small. We want you to remember, she said, that mercy is not weakness. That kindness is not naivete. That humanity asked to stand beside you, and you forced us to stand above. She paused, letting the words settle into the air like gravity. We won't take your worlds. We won't destroy your fleets. But from this day forward, Earth will kneel to no one. And then she turned, walking out as the dauntless fleet began its withdrawal. Across the galaxy, a new silence spread, not of oppression, but of realization. The species that had once been mocked as primitive had shown the most terrifying truth of all. That compassion, when tested, becomes unbreakable. The Keldar Dominion signed an immediate ceasefire. The machine-born offered technology exchanges. And for the first time in recorded galactic history, the Council voted, unanimously, to extend membership to Earth. When Amina Reyes returned home, she stood before a crowd on the rebuilt plains of New Mexico. The skies shimmered with lights, human ships, alien envoys, new beginnings. They called us fragile, she said. But we were never fragile. We were human. And that was always enough. The world erupted in thunderous applause as blue flares lit the horizon, signals from colonies across the system. Humanity was no longer a whisper in the dark. We were the light that followed it. Far beyond the stars, in the dark space between galaxies, a new signal pulsed, unknown, ancient, and watching. And this time, the message wasn't from humans. They stood up, the signal said. Now, let's see if they can lead.